Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 23 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki clan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way over on Anime King and Anime King 2. Yes, I indeed have 3 channels. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last part that we left off, the village was under distress, as many civilians were being knocked out cold because of the pressure that was settling in the air. Many medics were falling down as well, as their mind was being forced into unconsciousness. As Tsunade rushed towards the Senju compound, and she didn't know what the hell was going on, but the presence was coming from here. Mainma and the others arrived as Mainma stood there, as he could feel that this was his Jiji. As Urza stepped inside, as she covered Naruto in one of her spears and threw him straight out of the village, because he was the one causing that. The moment that she caught up with Naruto and she found him, as she stepped towards him, Naruto got so angry, as he was pissed off because Naruto's mind has been going over it several times now. 2 things caught him off guard. For one, back when he had faced off against the 3 nations, when he had returned back to Uza, he had sensed a strange chakra. It felt like his mother's. He thought that he was going crazy because he was so angry. But facing off against Eren Uchiha, the son of Mother Uchiha, it was the same chakra that saved him. That meant his mother had to do something with it. And the moment Naruto made contact with Eren's chakra, he sensed his own father's chakra, as his father was intertwined in this as well. As Naruto rage caused him to obliterate the era with just his chakra leveling everything around him. As Urza finally get him to calm down, as she brought him back to the mansion. As Mito finally woke up, as she has been through many names, Urza, Katsumi, and now her real name was Mito, named after her mother's aunt. She said that she wanted some time to just think this over because it was all just a lot. But despite that, they were all here for her. Judging by the fact that when she woke up, she found Menma as he brought her breakfast. She also met Teiwaya as well. Urza kept her promise as she was keeping Teiwaya. She saw something in the girl that she liked. As for Naruto, he was gone. He was not here at the moment. When he returned though, he had someone with him. A small red-haired girl. Her name was Karen Uzumaki. Teiwaya information led him towards her, as Orochimaru was keeping her, trying to use the girl because of her special chakra. There was many of the Stone enemies there, but they were teared apart by Naruto, who tried to get in his way. With that, Naruto went by the Haigo compound, as he interrupted one of their sparring sessions, as Hanabi was so happy to see him. He was her big sister Sensei, and she came to know him very well. Unlike Hayashi and the other elders, Naruto treated them like children, and he was also nice to them. But Naruto noticed that there was something awful with Hayashi. The reason why he was being too stern on the girls, as the elders were always keeping a close eye on things. As Hayashi decided to tell Naruto something that he never told anyone else, as Naruto was able to block the interruption by creating a wall of chakra that not even the Byakugan can see through. As what Naruto heard angered him, and he would fix it, but for now he had something else to do. After visiting Mikoto, Naruto went straight towards the hidden rain, but before he could get there though, he was stopped by Konan. So yeah guys, so it's basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place sector for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. We begin this episode away from Earth, on the planet of the Otsutsukis. At the moment, Izon found himself in a bad situation. He was currently chained up. He was pinned up, his two arms were locked in white chains that had strange inscriptions over the handles. His legs were chained, and there was a large chain around his stomach as well, as he was pinned up in all areas. There was a chain around his neck as well, keeping him restrained. His head was down as his hair shadowed his face. Things went bad quickly. He thought he got rid of the mole, but he knew that this was not Hiroshiki. Someone else spoke. Things had been going well and he was gathering support for Naruto. So when Momoshiki and Naruto finally had their showdown, and when Naruto won, the others would fall in line because most of them hated Momoshiki. His clothing was still stained with blood. He was strong, but not strong enough to take down the entire elite force that Momoshiki sent after him. A lot of them were killed in their pursuit though, but he was captured. They forcefully got their way into his head and extract the information that they needed. And here he was now, waiting for execution. He cursed at himself getting caught. This wasn't supposed to go this way. As he looked up and struggled against the chains, knowing that it was futile, given the chains and the ruins that were on them. Things had really gone to hell. He wouldn't even get to tell Naruto before it happened. Unprepared. He wouldn't be ready. And he was sure that Momoshiki would not play fair. He would send those damn guards of his to go to the planet that Naruto was on first and find anyone that Naruto came to love. And he was gonna kill them. Yes, he was gonna kill them all, just to break Naruto's spirit and watch him suffer. Once again he tugged on the chains but nothing was working. That is when he heard footsteps as he looked up. His vision a bit blurry because of all the blood splattered over his face. As he saw green hair, he narrowed his eyes to see Aiko. She was a friend of his. She was fully supportive of taking down Momoshiki, as he also killed a few members in her house that would not stand with him. There was two guards standing in front of a cell. As the first one spoke up, Aiko, what are you doing here? You don't have permission to come down here. I'm just here to say my farewell to Izon. We've known each other for a long while. Cut the bullshit. The first guard said, I said you don't have permission to come down here. Now leave, or face the consequences. The second guard looked towards Aiko. As she nodded, chop. The second guard chopped the first guard right in his throat. The guard gasped as Aiko stepped forward and grabbed onto the man's head. The man screamed as a second guard covered his mouth. The next second he collapsed on the ground. From what Aiko did, Izon looked up at them as the cell was pulled. Aiko came in as she started to break the ruins over the chains as they start to lose their ethereal white color. Aiko, save your strength, she said. Don't talk. We're getting you out of here. As the second guard helped him up. Moshe. I thought you would really turn against us, Izon said. I had to make it look convincing, said Moshe. Well, if you mean by beating the crap out of me, then yes, it was very convincing. Take this. As Aiko slipped him a pill, he took it. As he felt his wounds healing up, a burst of energy rushed through his body. Thanks, that helped, he says. He got to his feet. Well, this is a tricky situation now. Don't worry about it, Aiko said. You go. Momoshiki and only his trusted guards know where Naruto is. And you, go where he is and inform him that you're coming. You will have a better fighting chance. Momoshiki won't be there until a couple of days. He is gathering everyone and preparing. He does not plan to spare the home world that Naruto is on. He wished to destroy it right in front of Naruto's eyes. Go, warn him. What about you guys? Don't worry, said Moshe. We will handle the distraction. You just go, and make sure you get there on time. Otherwise, this sacrifice will be for nothing. Don't worry, I'll get it done. As the both of them gave him a nod, an explosion went off. What's that? Izon said. The distraction. Now go! As he moved off, getting the hell out of there. Meanwhile, in the castle, Momoshiki came to a stop as he turned. What the hell was that? One of his guards flanked to his side rather quickly. Check it out, he said. As another explosion rocked the place, a pissed off look came on his face. Whoever is doing that, bring me their head, he said. The two guards flashed away as Momoshiki stood there, as he was looking in front of the mirror that was in front of him. As there was a satisfied smirk on his face despite the explosion, he should have guessed that Aizan would be against him. It was easy to get the information by threatening a few of the people that were in the meeting. Well, his guards had found one of them by stripping the man of his title, taking everything from him that made him Otsutsuki. The man had bent to his will and told him everything. Aizan really needs some more trusted people. Well, he did threaten to eradicate the man's entire house and make him watch as he slaughters children in front of his eyes. Well, that was a main factor in it. As Momoshiki scoffed at those weaknesses, having sentimental bonds, attachments, that is what makes you weak, pathetic to be Otsutsuki. These people think that they can go behind his back and stand against him. These commoners, these fools, these disgusting plagues that call themselves Otsutsuki. He will step on each and every one of their throats, but for now he will wait. He will make them think that Naruto has a fighting chance. He will eradicate that plan from what he saw. That woman, in Aizan's mind. What was her name again? Yes, he believed it was Mikoto. As a smirk came to his face, she would be the first one on his list. As he had saw that smug face of his, yes, Naruto's gotten stronger, but still it did not matter. As Momoshiki flexed his power, the mirror exploded into a million pieces. As a smirk came on his face. I'm coming for you, Naruto, he said. Meanwhile, back at the Elemental Nation, as Naruto stood in the croppy, empty fields, there was nothing out here for miles upon miles. As he was heading towards the hidden rain, there was a few lakes over to the side and a few trees and some croppy rocks, but nothing else. As this woman, he knew her very well. Her name was Konan. Despite her stern face, she was rather nice. She greeted him well when he had spoken to Nagato. He was sure that she knew why he was here. I know why you're here. As she confirmed that, she lowered herself as she stepped forward, as she was not afraid. The moment she was close enough, she stopped, as she lowered her head. Please, don't kill him, she said. As Naruto heard the pain in her voice, the pleading, the girl was begging him. So you know, said Naruto. They're planning to kill me, are they? Yes, said Konan. She had already made up her mind. She knew that Nagato would lose. She had sensed the power coming from this man the moment he told Nagato that they were family. And Nagato asked him what if they were enemies. And she didn't believe, despite his claims of being a god, that Nagato would win. This man. As she looked up towards Naruto, the masked man who claims to be Madara Uchiha, he's twisting his mind, using him. Our goals or our ideals. What the Akatsuki was truly meant to be has changed. I'm begging you, please, don't kill him. As Naruto looked down towards her, that man is not Madara Uchiha. His name is Eren Uchiha. He's a son of Madara. A look of understanding came on Konan's face as she knew. Madara was a powerful man said to be able to decimate nations by himself. Why would he hide in the shadows, using others to do his dirty work? It made absolutely no sense. Where are they? Said Naruto. A few yards ahead, said Konan. They're waiting for you. They figured that you might come. They've been waiting for the past few days. I had some stuff to take care of, said Naruto. Don't worry. I won't kill Nagato. Konan breathed a sigh of relief. But I will teach him a lesson, to make him understand. As Naruto rested a hand on her shoulder, the girl was not bad at all. She was nice, in fact. She just grew up in a bad time, bad ideals, influence, that changed up someone's philosophy. I will make you get your friend back, he said to her. As Konan nodded at that, Now go, said Naruto. Losing your trust is something that he will never want. He doesn't have to know about this. Konan blinked in surprise. You would keep it to yourself? As Naruto simply gave her a smile, Konan did not understand. How could someone be so powerful and yet so nice at the same time? So vengeful and yet so forgiving. Despite knowing that Nagato was going to come after his head, he promised that he wouldn't kill him. And she couldn't help but trust this man for some reason. She nodded as her body poofed away. Meanwhile, with the real Konan, as the memories were served back to her, a small smile came on her face as she saw Nagato, who was in his mechanical walker. They were in the trees, a distance away from the hidden rain, as they weren't in the land of rain anymore. Close to the croppy grounds that were empty, this place was known as the Land of Wolf. It was said that there were several tribes here in the past that haunt these grounds the same way, so no one ever lived here. The place seemed wonderful to fight, as there was nothing around, no one to get hurt. He's coming, said Nagato, as he felt the surge of power. A distance away, upon one of the far mountains over to the side, was Eren Uchiha, as Eren was sitting down without his mask, with the rightful god-knowing Funjutsu, on a level that no one else seemed to know. He did not chance it to go to Konoha to bring Katsumi back to him. Mito, Katsumi, whatever her name was. He was sure by now that they had influenced her mind to turn her over to their side. The girl was always a nice child despite her power and strength, something that he tried to break out of her, but yet there was always this calmness about her, something that always irritated him. He needed her for his plans. As he looked down towards the croppy ground down below, unknown to even him, someone was looking through his eyes. A man was calmly sitting back in his chair, as he was rather relaxed, as he was able to look through Eren's eyes. How did he do this? Well, years of planning, precautions, putting things into play. As the man sat down calmly watching his son, as he was rather enjoying to see how strong his son had gotten. As we skip back to Eren, that didn't mean Eren didn't have free will. He could do as he pleased. But someone was piggybacking on him, looking right through his eyes. As Naruto finally arrived towards the clearing as he stood there, several ninjas stood there in their full might. The 6 paths of pain stood in the back, and there were several other ninjas there, a part of their little group, the Akatsuki. Tendo pain narrowed his eyes as this shark-like man stepped forward, that toothy grin on his face. He had a rather large blade that he had on his shoulder as he smiled, looking towards Naruto. So you're the rightful god, huh? He said. You know, said Kisame as he pointed Samehata towards Naruto. You're a big part of the reason why I left Kiri, considering that you wiped it off the map. Someone then came flapping down. As the person spoke, I'm a big fan of your work. What you did in Hidden Stone was remarkable, but your art, it still lacked the explosion. Up in the air there was a blonde man looking down. This was Deidara, the mad bomber of the Hidden Stone. Over to the side, Sorcerer simply remained quiet. Unlike the others, he could tell that this man was the real deal. They were brought here to take him down. They had the aid of the leaders. More than one it seems, as there was 6 of them behind him. This was gonna be a real fight, but considering that all of them were S-rank miscellaneans, they doubt that he could take them all on. Over to the side, I'm sure all of the other nations would pay a high bounty for that head of yours. It's all about goddamn money, isn't it, Kakazu, said Hidan. For once, think about something else. Money is the key to life, said Kakazu. But instead of acknowledging any of them, Naruto simply ignored them all. Nagato, I've learned a long time ago that sometimes some people cannot be reasoned with just through words. That is why I'm gonna forcefully make you understand the stupidity of your actions. Your name might have been revered in the past as some kind of god, but I'm afraid your time is up, rightful god, because now The only gods standing in front of you are us. We are pains, and we are gods. Naruto moved, not wasting time, but Kisame cut him off as he appeared in front of Naruto as he swung Samehata with great force. Naruto raised his hand as Samehata slammed right in his palm. The sword released its spikes over its body scales, trying to impale Naruto, but yet none of them broke his skin. As Naruto gripped the sword tight as he ripped it out of Kisame's hand, Kisame was taken aback at that, as he quickly jumped back and flashed through hand sign, water style he said. Water collided shockwave as he spewed a large jet of water right towards Naruto. Naruto twirled Samehata as Samehata started to ride and twist. The sword started to pulsate an unnatural yellowish color as Naruto started to pump his own chakra into the blade. It was consuming far too much than it could take as the sword grew large as Naruto threw it. It sliced right through the water as Kisame had to move as the thing tore a huge chunk in the ground. Kisame accidentally looked back and that was his mistake. The next thing he knew, he was 10 feet off the ground. A feet slammed into his stomach that forced him up into mid-air as Naruto appeared behind him and dropped both hands into Kisame's head. It was like a miniature bomb went off. The sonic wave flew all over as Kisame's body impacted the ground, releasing huge tremors. Naruto raised his hand as 5 rods appeared in mid-air as he dropped them. Kisame cried out in pain as he was impaled, one of them flying through his head and flying through his heart, killing him instantly. As Naruto continued to move, his eyes locked with the Tendo path of pain, as Nagato frowned at that. He's as strong as ever, thought Eren as he watched Naruto move. It was then that Saucer popped open its mouth. Thousands of Senbons were sent sailing towards Naruto as Deidara released hundreds of tiny spiders and small creatures from his hands, from his clay pouch that he has already created, as they all drop on Naruto. Cuts! With the Senbon in the explosion, there was a massive spread of needles and dust all over, as everyone jumped out of the way. Seems he's stronger than we thought, said Hidan with a smirk on his face, considering that he took out Kisame so easily. As Hidan licked his lips, but it doesn't matter how strong he is, he will fall in front of the face of Jashin. When the smoke cleared though, there Naruto stood. Hundreds of Senbons littered around him, as there was a circle around him that prevented any of them from touching him, judging by the scorch mark on the ground, where the explosions did not even touch him. Deidara frowned as he dropped his bird, as he landed on his Fate-2 dragon that started to fire miniature dragon. As Naruto created a staff and twirled it, the staff split through the sky in such speed, it tore through all the miniature dragons and pierced right through the head of the dragon, caused Deidara to jump. Deidara created a miniature owl as he landed on the back, as Naruto was already on the tail of the owl. As Naruto looked down towards him, Deidara turned as he smirked as his entire body started to turn into clay. As he brought his hand forward, the real Deidara jumping down. Cuts! Boom! The titanic explosion went off, decimating the air. Deidara smirked. Now that is what I call an... As there was a sound of metal ripping through flesh. Deidara looked down to see several holes in his body, where the rods were. What the hell? As he collapsed face first down into the ground, dead. As Naruto landed on his feet and started to move towards Nagato once again, his eyes calm despite just dispatching 2 S-rank missing ninjas without a care in the world. Sorcery once again opened a compartment of his body. This time, hundreds of streams of explosives started to fire out towards Naruto, who vanished in a burst of speed ripping through the ground. Hidan leaped forward as he swung his sight to take Naruto's head clean off. As Naruto ducked, a staff creaked in his hand as he blocked the sight from driving down. Hidan brought down every ounce of strength that he possessed, but yet still, he couldn't force Naruto's knees to bend. As Naruto created a miniature staff in his hand and stabbed it right through Hidan's neck. But Hidan coughed up blood and laughed. You can't kill an immortal, he said, as he twisted his body over to bring his staff around. As Naruto held out his hand that turned into a strange metallic color, the staff smashed against his hand and it was obliterated. Hidan's eyes went wide as Naruto gripped him by the shoulder. "Who says I can't kill an immortal?" said Naruto. His hand turned a strange, see-through blue, like it wasn't even there, like it belonged to a ghost as Naruto shoved it right into Hidan's body. Hidan looked down as he felt himself getting cold and more cold. "What are you doing to me?" he said, as Naruto ripped something out of him. Standing in Naruto's palm was a blue spectral of chakra. It was none other than Hidan's soul. As Naruto released it, it just vanished away in the dust. As Hidan's corpse dropped down to the ground, unmoving. That is when the place was assaulted by several attacks from different areas by all of the masses that Takato released from his back. Sasori instantly released the Kasekage puppet as a sand, released hundreds of sand spikes that ripped apart the area of the iron sand, just tearing anything in its wake. As the both of them realized how things was going, as Kakazu looked back towards the leader, who was standing there unfazed by it all. But the way things are going now, all of them were gonna die, and Kakazu didn't want to die here. After all, there was so much money in the world to get. With the current state of the world, he loved it so much. With these three nations not as big as the great nations, many jobs were given to him, many jobs for him to do underhanded things, and he loved every single second of it. Well, it seems that wouldn't last, as he felt a chill on the back of his spine. "Are you really gonna waste my time with these puppets?" Nagato said Naruto, as he stood behind Kakazu. "I'm here for you. Why bring out these wastes of space? You know they won't stand a chance against me." "A mere test," said Tendo, "to see if you're ready to face off against a true god." As Naruto frowned at that, "You have lost your way. But don't worry, I will set you back on the right path and correct it. I was also lost once, and I realized the only way to fix that is by showing you that you're no god." As Naruto raised his hand, blocking a deadly strike from Kakazu, the ground actually broke under his feet as Kakazu's body was hardened like stone. As Naruto turned and delivered several hits to his stomach, with his Byakugan activated, Kakazu stepped back. Despite his skin being hardening, he spat out blood. A vicious right kick to the face, throwing Kakazu away right towards the wooden puppet. As Naruto started to step towards Nagato once again. But before he could, the puppet came in front of him, its hands covered in blades. As it tried to slice him, Naruto reached forward as a black rod appeared in mid-air and skewered the puppet right through his head. The thing then expanded and ripped the puppet apart. As Naruto turned and threw a small rod that pierced right through Sasori, breaking through the armor. The real Sasori leaped out of it as he reached up and saw the hole that was in his face. But that would not stop someone like him. To the way things are going, he decided not to waste any time as he pulled out a scroll and released 100 puppets. The sky darkened as his puppets shadowed the entire place. As Naruto looked up towards all of them, before he could say anything though, a cube surrounded them all. A bright light went off in the cube as an explosion rendered all of them to dust. The cube then vanished. Sasori was taken aback as he couldn't understand what the hell just happened. That is when he looked up in the sky. "What the hell?" said Tendo. Over to the side. "So she's here as well," thought Eren, still waiting for the right opportunity. Although things were looking bleak with the Akatsuki members getting picked down one after another, White Zetsu rose from the ground. "Where's Black Zetsu?" said Eren. "He said he will be here soon." As Eren clenched his fist, he didn't know what the hell was going on. Black Zetsu was being rather shady, telling that we will have to go with option 2. Just in case, to get himself ready. "Understood, boss," said White Zetsu as he went back underground. "I thought you were busy," said Naruto, as he ignored everyone in the battlefield as he turned towards Urza. "Well, I was. I'm afraid that I drained his youthful spirit." As Naruto blinked. "Wait. Don't tell me," he said, as a cheeky smile came in her face. As Naruto hung his head in shame. "Really?" he said. "Come on, I'm not just screwing with you. I actually like him. He's really fun. And not to mention excited. You don't find this attitude annoying, Naruto. Not one bit, actually I like it a lot. It's a whole different change for me. As for the other guys being all stuck up and acting like a douche, he's just easygoing and nice. And you know he's a nice person. He just loves to be over the top. So the both of you are together now. Well, we have been doing it since the student exams. As Naruto blink. And why is this the first time I'm hearing of it? What? Can't a girl have some secret in her life? You? Having secrets? Yeah, you're right, I tell you everything. Well, you were just busy and everything just caught up with you and all that, so I decided to wait. And now that I'm telling you, I hope you give me your blessing. My blessing, said Naruto. You're acting like two of you getting married. Of course not, she said. But it's fun, she said. You know what? As long as you're happy, I'm happy. Although, don't invite me over. Come on, he's not that bad. Said Ursa as she raised her hand blocking a stream of fire from sorcery. With one of her cubes. I mean, he's a real nice guy when you come to know it. She didn't chuckle. What's so funny? Well, it's just amazing. Really nice guy. And his name is Guy. As Naruto blinked. Really? She frowned. You know what? Let's stop talking for now. Go and handle that guy over there. I'll take care of these two. Huh? One of them is running, she said as she saw Kakazu moving. Don't let him escape, said Naruto. They're all scums. Erase them. As she smiled at that and vanished away. As Naruto stepped towards the 6 paths of pain, his eyes locked on Tendo before he started the move. Tendo raised his hand as he did not hesitate. Almighty. Push! As the gravitational wave came towards Naruto, Naruto spread his arms to the side as a force slammed into Tendo's force. The two forces clash as they decimate the area, turning the ground down into dust. As Naruto broke through that dust and appeared in front of Tendo, only for the absorption pain to step in front of him. He reached out to grab Naruto's hand as Naruto flipped over his head. As Naruto brought the rod down, but the eyes were connected as they saw through each other's eyes, and the absorption path moved out of the way. As the human path reached, as he tried to grab onto Naruto's skull, only for Naruto to grab his hand and snapped it, before grabbing it tight and delivering a bone-crushing kick to his head. His head was completely ripped off his body as Naruto still held onto his hand. As Naruto twirled and threw his body away, the summoning path then went through hand sign as he raised his hand, summoning, but before he could, Naruto appeared in front of him and delivered several healthy hits to his chest. He then flashed behind him and delivered a bone-crushing kick to his shoulder. The summoning pad dropped down to the ground. Naruto then stomped into his back and grabbed his two arms and ripped it off, as he used the body to block several rods that came from Tendo Pain as they stuck in his body, as Naruto tossed him away as well. The robot path took his arms off and released a missile that detonated on contact. As Naruto jumped away out of the smoke, the absorption path appeared right over him as he brought his fist down as Naruto tilted his head. As Naruto reached out and grabbed the path's face and twisted and crushed his body into the ground. The ground bricked underneath him as he fell down. As they were falling, Naruto pulled his fist back and slammed it into the path's chest, as a gaping hole exploded out of his back, as he could see right through him, as they crashed like a bomb. Naruto stopped his descent before blasting back up, out of the strange broken chasm. As he landed, upon arriving he saw the two paths that he killed earlier were being taken away by the revival path. As Naruto created 6 rods and launched them, Tendo raised his hand and blew all of them away, only for Naruto to appear behind him. The robot path released the beam on his head and launched it towards Naruto, as Naruto twisted his body out of the way as the beam ripped through the side of the mountain where Eren was, forced him to step away from that area. As Naruto twirled on his feet and released several rods as he launched them straight towards the revival path, who was forced to move or he would be skewered interrupting his technique of summoning the King of Hell. As a buzzing sound could be heard, Naruto turned as he released several chains from his palms that grabbed the robot path in his grip. It started to twist and turn. It shredded into pieces. It was at that moment that Tendo released a supercharged almighty push, as Naruto was sent sailing like a bomb as he crashed into one of the mountain sides, completely slamming through it and creating a gaping hole. The mountain collapsed in on itself as Tendo blasted to oblivion, as everything came collapsing down on Naruto, crushing him underneath. As the revival path regrouped with Tendo, to the both of their shot they were the only one left. The revival path quickly went to get to work to reviving the others. But before he could, there was a build-up of chakra. Tendo still had 3 seconds. Before he could though, a red beam ripped through the debris as the thing decimates the area, forcing both paths to flee. But the moment it made contact with the ground, several smaller beams jetted from the large beam and shredded everything around. The revival path had to jump in the way and throw Tendo straight down the hill as he was reduced to ashes. Tendo crash landed as Nagato cursed where he was. "Stop this, Nagato. You're going too far," said Konan as he grabbed his hand. He turned towards her with his eyes glaring at her as Konan felt the pressure blew her back as she hit against the wall. "Enough! Stop interrupting me. I am a god, and he will fall." Konan couldn't believe that he actually used his power on her. As she escaped out of the hideout, as her wings appeared, she flew up. When she looked down towards the scene, a distance away, all that she saw was Tendo remaining. The rest of them were gone. She didn't want the body of Yaiko to be lost, as he deserved a proper burial. He didn't deserve to be used anymore. All of the dust and debris was exploded outwards from where Naruto was, as he came out brushing off his shirt and all the dust that got in his hair. Ursa touched down as she finished dealing with the other 2 Akatsuki members. She sat down as she held up her hand as one of her little cubes appeared extended. Inside there was food as she pulled out a bag of chips and started to eat as she watched a show unfold in front of her. Over to the side, Eren saw her as he thought about going after her to attack her, but there was something that made him hesitate. She was on guard. She looked like she was completely relaxing, but yet he felt if he stepped too close she would be able to react just in time. He saw her fight. She was strong. He didn't know where the hell these people were from, but they were definitely not from around here. He wasn't even sure if they were from this planet. Given their strength level, something was immensely wrong. His father had summarized that Naruto was somehow related to the Sage of Six Paths, as Naruto never told him about his origins. The only person that knew about Naruto's origins in the past was his wife, and Kagami, and Mito. As everyone else didn't know about his past, Madara had always suspected that Naruto was related to the Sage of Six Paths, given his incredible strength and power. Madara had heard when the Uzumakis were annihilated after all, he did not die at the Valley of the End. He knew that something drastic was going to happen that day. He was sure that the world was going to change, and he needed someone to carry on his legacy the way things was going. There was a few other Uchihas who still respected Madara. Many of the girls had fawned over him. She meant nothing to him really. She was the one to name him. Madara allowed it because she was the one to take care of Eren for the first few years of his life, until he got strong enough. But she had stand against him. She wanted to take him back to the village. She promised that she would not tell anyone that he was his father and that Eren could live a better life there. She tried to flee, and Madara could not have that. He had to make sure that Eren grew up hating Konoha. That is where he told him that his mother was killed by Konoha shinobis for loving him. Because of his exile, because of what happened, His mother was killed for that reason, because she fell in love with him. And that fostered Eren's hate growing up. Madara had implanted his Rinnegan when he grew older into Nagato. The reason why he did that is because he wanted Eren to have an ally, a powerful one in fact, so it would be easier for them to conquer and do as they please. And everything was going so far well until Naruto returned, and now things was in shambles. Eren clenched his fist as he refused to attack Urza. There was just something forced him to stay where he was. The nagging feeling that she was ready to take him down if he moved. As he looked back over where the rightful god was, that is where he saw Nagato. Half of his clothing was torn, or tendo. As he slammed his hands together and released a strange black ball in the heavens. He was taking this far. Naruto craned his head to look up in the sky. That is when he saw it. Inside of the hiding spot, Nagato slammed his hands together. As he started to form, the planetary devastation as he started to cough up blood, pouring as much chakra as possible. But even though he was doing that, Naruto refused to move. The ground that Naruto stood on did not tear. His chakra alone was able to keep it stable, as Nagato forced more of his chakra to rip the ground apart, keeping his balance as well, but yet Naruto did not move. Nagato cursed as he spat out blood. It was then that Eren saw it. Eren saw Nagato falter, and he used his projection ability to vanish. As Naruto sensed the chakra signature, he knew that he was there the entire time. He was just waiting for him to show himself, to show Nagato that he was nothing but a spineless coward, a fool. But things did not go as he planned. As Nagato dropped the massive spear, seeing that Naruto was not moving, as Naruto had to destroy it, but that gave Eren enough time as he appeared inside of where Nagato was. As Nagato looked up towards the man, he has never seen his face before. "Who are you?" said Nagato as he was hyperventilating. Konan was flying back straight towards the hideout. Nagato must be exhausted after that. Despite what he did, he was still her friend, and she didn't want him to die. It was at that very moment Black Zetsu arrived. "Now!" said Eren as Black Zetsu completely enswarmed Nagato's body and slammed his hands together as he activated the Renny Rebirth to revive someone back from the dead. Nagato didn't have any say in this. His body was too weakened after that attack, and he was unable to stop this from happening to him. He realized that he had messed up, but it was too late. His red hair turned white. The person that he was bringing back was dead for a long time now, as he was using most of his energy. It was at that moment Konan materialized out of paper inside the hiding spot. The moment that she did, a massive fireball was launched towards her by Eren. She flapped her wings as she blew it away, using the air pressure to send it back towards him. Eren leaped out of the way. Konan saw what was happening as her wings extended as they pointed towards Nagato, but she hesitated. If she did this, she would be killing Nagato. It was then that Eren projected himself behind her. Before he could grab her though, his throat was grabbed. As Eren looked up to see, his eyes looking into Urza's eyes, "Found you." She smashed him through the tree, breaking his back into the ground. He projected himself away, but when he rematerialized, his hand was stuck inside a strange cube. He screamed out in pain as his cube imploded and his hand was shredded to pieces. He projected himself farther away, running in fear, only to look down to see that his leg was encapsulated in a cube. As his leg was blown off, his eyes started to bleed as he poured the remaining amount of chocolate that he had and projected himself far, far away from Urza. As he went out of her senses range. "Huh, I lost him," she said. She simply shrugged. Naruto knew where he was. As she went back towards the destruction area, where Naruto had completely obliterated the satellite that was dropping towards him. But he was no longer there. When Naruto arrived towards the area, there was nothing but smoke and dust. He heard coughing as he saw Konan on the ground. He moved towards her and helped her up. "Nagato," she said. As Naruto turned to see Nagato under his machine, He grabbed onto it as he ripped it off of Nagato, pulling his weak, broken legs out of it. Nagato was blind, as the place was obliterated like an explosion that went off. Conan was coughing violently as Ursa appeared behind her and placed a hand on her back. As her body started to relax. "What happened?" Ursa said. "It was Zetsu. Like Zetsu, he released an explosive. He took Nagato's eyes." "Is he dying?" she asked, as she noticed Nagato was not moving as Naruto looked down towards him as Naruto stooped down. "Nagato," he said. As Nagato barely looked up, before he lowered his head, I made a mistake," he said. As Conan was surprised to hear him say those words. "I was wrong. Please, you said that Uzumaki's are family. If anything else, protect Conan." Conan's eyes instantly started to gather tears as she noticed his life force was dimming. "You finally understand," said Naruto as he grabbed Nagato by the eyes. Covering his eyes, there was a bright flash of light. Nagato's white tears started to turn back red, as his weakened, pale body started to regain life. His sunken cheeks started getting swollen once again. "What is he doing?" said Conan. "He's sharing some of his life energy. His life force," said Ursa. "Wait, won't that? Don't worry. For us, it's really nothing." As Conan watches Nagato blink, as there was no longer the Renegons there. "I revert your eyes back to what they were before you gained the Renegon. It seems like they were not yours to begin with. The trace of chakra inside of them belongs to Madara," said Naruto. "What?" said Nagato, confused, and he realized he could see. And not to mention his legs were moving. "My legs? I could have healed them from the beginning," said Naruto. "But I know that you had to understand that you were wrong all along." As Nagato sat there, as he couldn't believe it. As Naruto sat down beside him, "He was using you. That man name is Eren Uchiha. His false ideals and his goals about changing the world are wrong, Nagato. You and your friend created Akatsuki for a reason. To bring hope to the Hinrin. Currently your village is going through a lot. Many things that you have overlooked because of what you've done in the past. You should be ashamed of yourself," said Naruto. "You said you'd follow your friend's dream and yet you discarded it." As Nagato looked down, he was truly ashamed, hearing the words being talked to him. And to make it worse, as Naruto grabbed him by the shoulders. "You disregard your only friend to believe the word of a madman. You should be on your knees begging for her to forgive you." Nagato looked over as he saw Conan. There was tears in her eyes. As he looked down ashamed. Conan, A hard slap resonated through the area as Nagato held onto his cheek. As he looked up at the tear face of Conan, before he could say something, she pulled him to a hug though, as she cried on his shoulder. As Nagato held on to her. As Naruto got to his feet. Seems you're done here. "So you wanted to teach him a lesson, huh?" said Ursa. "He had to understand the hard way," said Naruto. "What about the other guy?" "I removed his hand and leg. I figure I shouldn't kill him because, well, that is for you to decide." "Thanks," said Naruto. "Don't worry. I'll find him." As Naruto turned his head to the heavens. "What's wrong?" "I don't know. I just got a really bad feeling." Meanwhile, that was going on. As Aizen was quickly making his way towards where Naruto was. He was given enough distraction time. It was now up to him to get there. But he was being pursued. As he increased his speed, he had to get there before. He had to get there before them. He was strong, but he couldn't face off against all of Momoshiki elite guards. They would rip him apart even though he would kill some of them. They were his elite guards for a reason. As he quickly made his way, he should get there before they do. even though they knew exactly where he was going. But Naruto had a hell of a fight on his hand once they got there. Meanwhile, that was going on, as the eyes of a man that was said to be dead for a long time opened. A small smile on his face as he felt it. Without any eyes though, as they were just black. But he could feel it. His heart beating, the blood pumping through his system. Yes, Madara Uchiha lived once again. But guys, it'll be episode right here. If you want the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way over an Anime King 2 and Anime King. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post out in front every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, I'm over now. See you guys soon. Peace.